water, giving nourishment to all the trees along its course. Trees. That's a natural resource we take for granted. If we need lumber, we just go down to the local lumber yard. They're sure to know the right size you'll need. But 100 years ago, it would have been a different story indeed. 100 years ago, there wouldn't have been a single tree along this creek, while almost all of Kansas was a treeless prairie. 100 years ago, most early settlers that came through Kansas just kept on going. They thought it was impossible to settle here on a barren prairie. How could you settle a region where there just wasn't any timber for building material? Well, most settlers did move on through Kansas, but several became aware of a vast natural resource of the Kansas prairie, and it was just beneath the sod. And that natural resource was limestone. Limestone became a central factor in the development of the plains. To find a substitute for timber, those early settlers looked beneath the sod to the limestone rock layers that had lain dormant for hundreds of years. Eventually, almost every hillside would give up some of its rock for building material. Most hillsides had exposed limestone, which made it easy for early settlers to take advantage of. These smaller stones exposed on the hillsides could be placed together with mortar for building material, or just stacked on top of each other to make a fence. Yeah, this old creek is all lined with limestone. Those early settlers had it rough back then, 100 years ago. They had to face a lot of hardships. Having to move away from home, leave most of their family and friends behind, having to pack all their belongings and bring the family out here to a new region to live. Have to build a substantial home, try to improve the ground. Yeah, those early settlers had to face a lot of hardships. Yep, this is the Kansas prairie. Kind of desolate looking. Not a tree in sight. Some rugged country indeed. The real limestone was under the sod. To get down those limestone layers, they had to clear the sod away. Then the work began. Had all kinds of drills and devices to break up those limestone layers. Had drills you'd set on and your body weight would force the bit down in the stone. Had hand drills, bits. Hey, you'd think that stone would be pretty hard, but actually it was soft. But once exposed to air, then it really hardened up. Yeah, the year after Kansas became a state, Congress passed the Homestead Act of 1862. That act had a major impact on the state's settlement. Under the Homestead Law, any eligible person could acquire up to a quarter section of government land for certain minimal considerations. Many settlers who were able to move on west through Kansas were lucky to do so. Many of those early settlers had no alternative but to stay, due to various reasons. Many of those who had no alternative but to stay were European immigrants. Living conditions in many European countries were bad due to the population-food ratio and economic changes. Understandably, such people were in a need to listen to any talk of immigration to a, quote, land of opportunity. These new immigrants had almost nothing but a desire to establish a place to live and to worship in a new country. The Germans were hard-working people, and among them, as among the British and Scandinavians, were those who had been stonemasons in their native homeland. Dugouts and sod houses were not substantial. After 1870, Indian trouble subsided, and substantially built stone dwellings of stone began to appear. Limestone had advantages. It was close enough to the surface, or was well enough exposed in ravines and along hill slopes that it could be obtained easily with the proper quarrying tools and techniques. It was uniform, seldom less than 8 inches or more than 12 inches thick. It was persistent, extending with little interruption for many miles, and it was soft enough to shape with chisel or other tool when freshly quarried, but would harden after being exposed to the air. To quarry this stone wasn't easy. It was a lot of hard work. First, the topsoil had to be removed by shoveling or by a team of horses in a slip. The overlying material ranged from a few inches to 3, perhaps 4 feet thick. Though it was considered impractical to uncover rock lying much more than 3 or 4 feet below the surface. For building block, fence post, or other products, the quarrying process was the same. Holes were drilled about 4 or 5 inches deep into the rock and 9 to 12 inches apart along a line marked for splitting. Feathers and wedges were placed in the holes, and tapping the wedges lightly with a stone hammer split out the slabs, posts, or blocks. Limestone definitely was a central factor in the settlement of the plains. Yep, definitely was a lot of hard work involved. A lot of hours. A lot of hard work. Now, they didn't have any trucks or any kind of modern convenience to move that stone around. Some of those blocks for those stone posts weighed 350 to 400 pounds. Yeah, those old stone masons were sure craftsmen. They could do anything with that stone. They could put any kind of design on it, any kind of shape. Why, it was only limited to their creativity. And they used that limestone for everything. Well, Almost everything. All the way from watering troughs to grave markers, even telephone poles and clothesline supports. Yeah, these old stone buildings and fence posts stand today as a memorial and tribute to the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the early settlers of the plain. Yeah, pure ingenuity and determination, and a will to stay on.